Hello there, welcome. This is my quest to the A-list. I am in a room, sitting in a chair. It's a very unexciting, uneventful place, but I'm sharing my thoughts with you. First, if you want to know what I've done recently and before, we could go all the way back to the 1990s is when I really kind of got well, that's not even true. My first, I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 73. And the first credit I can think of that I got that was legitimate was in the late 80s. All the TV series of the Westerns, eventually even Tombstone, was shot in our backyard in Tucson. Not my physical home address backyard, but it's an expression. Old Tucson Studios is right there. So I grew up around it. My dad used to spend countless hours hanging out with Michael Landon and Merlin Olsen on the sets of Father Murphy and whatnot. When he was a narcotics cop who died in 91 of cancer. I hope to tell many of the stories that he lived. He was also on the team that busted the adults trying to market traffic drugs through Santa Rita High School, Tucson in 1983. The basis for, I kid you not, Fox's 21 Jump Street. I am putting the script in action to see if anybody bites. I have been a writer for a while now. I remember in my early high school years, I was the ultimate fan film Star Wars writing guy. Even wrote a letter to George Lucas suggesting the very plots that are being made by J.J. Abrams today. Sorry, we don't accept unsolicited submissions, which is a legitimate policy. But heartbroken, I looked at my parents and said, well, what do I do? I'm 13 years old. My mother says, why don't you write your own? About a dozen novels later and 4 sports biographies, I did exactly that. Again, run my name through Amazon, run my name through Google. The books are right there. I look forward to making these things into motion pictures, visual stories. I just don't have the money yet. Now, my last grad school may enable that. I have 2 master's degrees now. That wasn't planned. It was an accident, so to speak. Yes, like when you trip over something in the street. Oh, I got to sit up. This is starting to cramp my arm. As you can see, I'm in a room, sitting in a chair. It's not exactly the most dramatic thing in the world. Major credits include He Got Game. Yeah, I wrote He Got Game. People are like, you did not. Yeah, actually, I did. Wayman Tisdale, we talked his way into his life back in 94, something like that, and handed it to his agent / manager, and they said, well, why don't we take this to Spike Lee and see if he'd be willing to executive produce? A week later, word came back after my then partner, I won't get into that mess, one of my big regrets in life. I was constantly hearing in put-downs what a lousy artist, lousy writer, lousy this and lousy that I was. Meanwhile, Spike Lee took my script and made it almost scene by scene and frame by frame. He changed enough that the 35% rule in the world of the Writers Guild applies. So I have a protocol I have to go back to claim it. I spent years going, wow, I wrote that thing and I never got paid. I'll never forget the put-downs that I withstood when, and I forget, I now realize this was common among success stories. Eddie Murphy was talking about how his stepdad lashed out at him when he had to come get him because something didn't work out at the comedy club one night. And he was lecturing him, you're going to get a 9-to-5 job. And he was just going off on him. And again, it's a documentary that Eddie Murphy had done that describes his early days. I remember my mother, Lash, just pounding me in all ways about what a loser I was. Because the fact is, I never got paid for handing Spike Lee's agent that script. And it was called 21 at the time. I since redid the whole plot. My version is now called Witness Protection, and I changed the storyline a lot. So much so you wouldn't recognize it as far as He Got Game goes. But they cover similar territory. Many of the characters are the same. So between interactions with then New Line Cinema, pitched them the Muppets in a parody of Die Hard called Study Hard. College Library, Squirt Guns, Muppets. I even wanted to throw in Alan Rickman before he died. New Line said no on a score of 8-7 and decided to go off and make another action movie called it was starring they said it was at the time an unknown black comic and Bruce Lee stuntman. It turned out it was Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. That was Rush Hour. So I don't blame them for doing what they did, but it hurt to come that close and not make it. And you hear that line in Field of Dreams, what's it like to walk by your dreams and they just brush by you like a stranger in the crowd? Well, I didn't exactly walk by. I finished my movie despite great opposition. I found out that I legally could do a lot of things creatively that I was otherwise previously told I couldn't. Again, I had some really bad experiences with the film community in Arizona. Turns out they spent 10 years suing each other after I left. I needed to go get me straight. So there I was, married with going on 2 kids, and at the time my kid's mom, very skilled high school math teacher, she helped get me through all the calculus that is required to take all the other classes. So I got my bachelor's degree in 2011, and I got a master's degree in film editing in 2017, and another master's in business management in 2019. So here we are going into 2020. I got a job interview tomorrow. I've got 2 licenses to teach, media, social studies, and I'm trying to get an upgrade in business, considering my latest master's. Now, the reason why I like all those is I really enjoy, this is what I'm doing now, teaching other people basic public speaking. I really enjoy it. Using acting skills on people who have professions that are something other than acting. Whether they're doing real estate or law enforcement or teachers, I love taking the idea of boredom and just removing boredom from teachers by forcing them to learn how to do this stuff correctly. Originally, I was trying to do it for the stand-up comedians, because in Las Vegas, if you want to see boring meets offensive, just give any of the guys that I had the misfortune of briefly being around at the Las Vegas and downtown Las Vegas, Fremont area open mic. Just give them 5 minutes of your time, and they will bore you and offend you all at the same time. And I thought, well, why don't we remedy this? I created this thing called Launchpad. Well, the one thing you don't do to demons is tell them that you know Jesus. That pisses them off. So there were a half a dozen immature jerks, I'm being very, very kind with my words, that inspired what I'm doing now, which Storyteller is both a character and it's a public speaking training workshop, if you will. It's a bunch of classes I do in video and I do them in person. My goal is not to get people at open mics to pay me for training. My goal is to get professional development contracts from the government. Because if somebody's qualified to go teach or qualified to go be a police officer or a fireman or a real estate professional, if they got the license to do all that, they have to have professional development. It's a part of the job. It's a requirement to maintain the license. Some pastors need the training because they suck. I mean, come on. It just doesn't get any worse than some of the pastors I've had to sit through. So my goal is to do that. And if you haven't seen it yet, I'm a storyteller like Jack Benny and Gene Shepard. Some of you are like, well, who's Gene Shepard? Google him, schmuck. He was the one who came up with The Christmas Story, the classic of 1983. Peter Billingsley stars, and little boy wants the BB gun. Yeah, you'll shoot your eye out. Fudge. Okay, you got the highlights. In my opinion, there are better highlights of that movie to showcase, but herein, Gene Shepard was the guy who got on the radio first and then television and told stories with such grace and such precision and such calculated master storydom. That's what I want to do. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to get on the stage like many of my contemporary peers and go, hey, first, here's what sagging looks like on stage. And you get up and you look like a slob with your pants on your shins. And then you go, N-bomb, 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 F-bomb, F-bomb, F-bomb. Laugh, or I'm going to come down there and punch you in the face, audience. That's what these bums did for 2+ years. So they're unemployed and they're regulars at the average homeless shelter. I don't like starving, and it's bad. It's a bad way to parent kids. So my job is stay employed. You'll see the little runner on my opening montage is hard work always pays off. Hard work always pays off. I work hard, and it's going to pay off. My manager is a wonderful man of God named Frank Rossi. He's a acting coach out of Buffalo, New York. He has been a co-starring actor in many classic films, including Blue Chips, White Man Can't Jump, spent 12 years on All My Children, and now he puts more talent, not just kids, but talent, in television these days than, well, almost as much talent as Lute Olson ever put pro players in the NBA. That's saying a lot. He is just a wonderful man of God who took me on after 15 years of mentoring me in screenwriting. I even had one of my best friends say, Cor, how many writers go on to be A-list actors? And I went, that's a good point. So I wanted to share this journey with you guys. Day by day, it is not easy. I currently live going from city to city here in Denver, trying to find a place that feels right. I office out of the West Side. I'm waiting for a community college in Boston to say yes or no. They're going to hire me, and that will set the stage for me going and working full-time, or at least most of the time, or at least part of the time, as an actor in New York. The majority of acting jobs are in New York. Not all of them pay, but the majority of acting jobs are in New York. People in LA are, the companies in the LA Film Commission is actually begging people to come back. They spent the 1990s and the year 2000s telling filmmakers to go away. You're annoying us. Oh, filming Die Hard was too loud. Get lost. Get off our beaches with all your music video filming. And so what happened? The filmmakers left and said, okay, fine, we're out of here. Even the porn industry, the almighty golden goose, went to Nevada. And then a federal judge said file sharing doesn't, file sharing rendered the copyright protections of adult content inapplicable, which means their entire profit margin died overnight. That's what killed the adult cinema industry. So where do you go for the work? Who's got the cash flow when it comes to the creative stuff? The answer is you don't have to physically go anywhere to make a movie and upload it. Like right now, I'm in a random room where I'm going to upload a video. Congratulations, I just took 12 minutes of your life. But what you can do is go and do stage work and get in front of an audience. And it's all about brand equity. Does the audience know your name? That having been said, that's enough for now. I'm not going to give you the whole thing in the first episode. Tomorrow, I will come back and share more. And the goal is that every day I'm going to share a little something. Today's kind of positive. I got a job interview for tomorrow. It's not in my industry, but since I have a master's degree in business management, which basically is entrepreneurship, this is an opportunity to create another revenue stream. Most talent, most actors, own things that generate revenue that have nothing to do with the entertainment industry. I once asked a brilliant 3-time Oscar winner at a public Q&A, who were the guys who could make anything they wanted without any reliance on anybody? And he only cited 2 names out of the whole entertainment world community. He said Clint Eastwood and Steven Spielberg. That was it. And I started rattling off other names. He goes, nope, they can't do it. Nope, they need help too. Nope, not them. And he said, well, back in the day, and we're talking now going on 50, 70 years ago, Clint Eastwood's been around since, the birth of television with, I want to say Gunsmoke, but I know I'm wrong. It was one of the major Western breakouts on black and white TV. He was the young guy with the rifle, and then, then he got hired into the good, the bad, and the ugly, and so on. Those guys all started off so early, and then Spielberg's accountant and his lawyer said, we're going to diversify. Even Kevin Costner, he finances his movies based on these really cool machines that he bought that clean up ocean water when they get oil spills. I thought that is so cool. Well, it's time for me to do the same kind of thing. And I'm not going to say what business it is yet, and no, it's not cannabis. I'm anti-420. Let's get that straight. Another reason why I got a lot of grief from the bums in Las Vegas' amateur comedy club. I was also accused of being racist. My girlfriend was black. What more do you want? Grew up in Tucson, where the Spanish abuse everyone equally. I have an Italian surname. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're all a bunch of unemployed bums, so I'm not going to go into that right now. For those of you who are pursuing acting and are looking at what I'm doing and looking at the public speaking stuff, there is an upsell that I'm eager to talk about later. Once the company Storyteller Communications Coaching, you can find us on Facebook, gets up on its feet, so to speak, and that is we are selling Frank Rossi's How to Act videos. It's a really well done video series. His alumni include the people who were in the Passion of the Christ. He put Jimmy Caviezel on that cross, meaning he got him ready for his role in Wyatt Earp, and Jim earned everything else. Not that Jim didn't earn that role, but Frank really worked with him. I got to see an early audition of Jim Caviezel, and you got to remain teachable if you want to be successful. Jim did it. He did the hard work. He did the hard work that was put in front of him, and I give him nothing but credit for that. In fact, I would love to be on the Resurrection of the Christ, but we're not there yet. So, that having been said, we're looking to sell those videos to those who really want to pursue acting, and then you're going to have to audition for Frank. I don't control his client roster. All I know is he was so nice to take me on. So that's it for the moment. Sorry about the shaky camera. Be blessed, everybody, and tune in tomorrow. If you want to be in on the tuning in tomorrow thing, subscribe already. 37? I've got 1,300 views on my channel by 30. That means you're watching and you're not subscribing. Okay. You know who you are. Yeah. Go back to the Fritos or whatever it is you're doing. We both know you're wasting your time. Have a purpose and a plan worked out. We're going to talk about that one in the next episode. Purpose and plan. I pray about this every day. Your goals can remain the same. Your purpose might shift. Your plan is going to change from moment to moment because we live in a very, very real spiritual warfare environment. Yes, I'm a Jesus guy, but I'm also not one of those Ned Flanders. You can kind of, push them around. I talk back when I feel like I'm being disrespected. Yes, Michael of the Godless Open Mic, I'm talking to you. No, what you did was not okay. We'll talk about that in another episode. Okay, I'm done talking for now. Be blessed, everybody. It is early January of 2020. We got so many wonderful things to look forward to. Talk to you again soon. Bye.